what we've seen from customers far and wide is that things are changing. That the old-fashioned world of video and media is really coming to a converged world, where the old world reliability and the old world value still absolutely exists, um, but of there's a new world of we've got to focus on we got to focus on the audiences, the content, and bringing it all together, because things are absolutely changing. The old world idea that audiences are the currency of media, that's still it still holds true, and we still know that content builds those audiences. But what we're learning now is that while it used to be that content was king, now it's about the experience. Now it's about the fact that consumers have choice. It's the fact that experience earns audience loyalty, and organizations have to transform. They have to transform their operations. They have to transform their focus. They have to transform the fact that they are now individually, touching each and every one of us, because there's so much happening in the media world. Sharing a little bit about the 2019 spend for original content, with Viacom CBS coming in fourth with $15 billion in 2019. We've learned far and wide that the value of a company, a mass media company like Viacom CBS, was to build that content. Summer Redstone, the genius behind the idea of Viacom CBS, the idea of national amusements. He started off with the inclination that having a movie theater chain was amazing. Having those audiences were amazing. But you know what? People don't watch CSI. They watch CSI on CBS. They watch they watch Ellen on CBS, and those two go together. So that you've got that idea of having to focus on the entire picture as a media company. Going into that audiences, we found really, really clearly that not only is having the audience and having the content available going to make a media company profitable and meaningful to their customer base. We've got to know when to use it. We've got to have the data on what content fits who. We've got to know what makes individual content valuable. So we need to understand that maximizing the value of content is something that we have to do every day, because there's so much changing in the world. We need to provide choice. We need to understand the difference between that lean back kind of experience that you get with broadcast and paid TV, to that lean in experience that you're getting with cord cutters and OTT and VOD, like the Netflixes of the world. We've got to target experiences. We learned really, really quickly that the media industry is becoming a play where a lot of people are carrying the same content, and we're doing a lot of licensing deals. We're doing a lot of syndication, where you can have the same content, and that all came together really, really clearly back with the royal wedding a couple of years ago, where every media outlet on the planet was playing the same content from the royal family at the same time, and there was no real distinguishing factors. So we had to target the experience. We had to make some level of differentiation for every media outlet, so that people wouldn't change the channel when we came to that next ad. We had to make media companies become more agile, and they had to do it faster. And as you can see, with the growth of OTT and video on demand, compared to the slowing growth of pay TV and broadcast, it's really absolutely necessary. So sharing the great news. Um, Tuesday we partnered with Viacom CBS, and we shared background on a new agreement that we made, bringing the entire broadcast footprint of Viacom CBS, with its 425 linear broadcast channels, 40 data centers and media broadcast centers, bringing it entirely to the AWS cloud. Of course, building on the experience that we've had with HBO, with MGM, with Discovery. Building on that experience, we learned that we can help Viacom CBS spin up channels faster, that we can optimize the delivery over almost any distribution network, that we can help them with understanding their content library, and as Phil Weiser shared in the article that I dropped into the presentation, actually reduce costs by double digits, and that's really, really important. What we really need to think about is that savings goes directly into producing more and better and targeted content that means something to Viacom CBS customers. So some of the examples: CMT Australia. Um, Coming into the world of broadcast channels, it takes a lot of work to bring a channel online in a conventional world. In the cloud, we're able to replicate. We're able to use standardized processes. We're able to bring the ideas of technology into the world of media, and be able to move a lot faster. So CMT Australia was one of 5 channels produced by Foxtel, and transferred over to Viacom CBS. It was probably about July of this year, where we actually took an established platform that was built for previous CBS channels like Dabble, and we were able to bring the CMT Australia channel in Australia to the cloud in just 6 weeks. This was an amazing partnership with Amazon, with the Viacom CBS teams, with partners in the delivery chain, as well as our pro server organization. But delivering a channel in 6 weeks was absolutely amazing. Bringing to those multiple distributions, we have little events like the Super Bowl, and we worked on, in my history here at Amazon, I've had the experience of seeing 3 Super Bowls being brought to the cloud. It's interesting though, looking at the 2019 Super Bowl, we we changed the way that that sports television is really seen. The Super Bowl has had diminishing viewership probably since 2015, year over year, until 2019. We actually saw losses, and considerable losses, in viewership of the second largest sports event of the year. With Super Bowl 53, we actually saw the turnaround, and we saw that turnaround based on based on that multiple distribution method, bringing the Super Bowl to the cord cutters. And our focus was, how do we take alongside what's going on pay TV? How do we bring that to the digital world? And we streamed over CBS All Access. We streamed over Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, Prime Video. And what we actually achieved was record breaking. The digital viewership record of all time for the Super Bowl. We hit 7.5 million unique devices, which was a 20% growth over the previous year. And we saw 560 million total minutes of coverage, which I believe was in the 30s, in the 30%, in the 30% growth. This was amazing, and this was our rationale for really doubling down, in the streaming media community, working with the likes of Prime Video, working with the likes of All Access, and bringing that to the to the next CBS Super Bowl, which, between you and me, I believe that COVID's actually going to make this number grow, likely exponentially. Where we'll see, instead of watch parties of 10 to 12, we're probably going to see a lot more houses socially distanced, and enjoy the game, alone. So, we also had a focus on that supply chain. Company like CBS comes to the table with many media silos. You bring together CBS and Viacom, and you've got one of the largest archive of media in the world. All of that in separate silos becomes unwieldy. It becomes very hard to monetize, and it really becomes hard to to really set a true value on that archive, and and see what you can achieve. So one of the targets of this workflow is to be able to bring all this together, to consolidate the archive, to understand and build a data lake of metadata, to be able to know, in this show we've got these celebrities. In this show we've got we've got these 10 different topics that may be socially important, that we want to target. We also want to be able to identify what these individual titles are going to be responsive to specific viewing personas. So being able to build that single archive and be able to harvest data, both from existing systems, but also using machine learning to identify what, where, and how. So I shared a sample here of the Ellen Show, where we actually look into the show, and we identify what possible opportunities can we use for banner lower third editions, graphics additions, and even to the point of identifying when overlay advertising is possible. To that next step, we've got the Tiffany network here. We've got a network of 70 years worth of content, where a great majority of that content is still in tin cans. It's still on real tape, where the only metadata we have is that post-it note, sticky note on the outside of the can. We've got a great we've got a great amount of content, but what happens with those sticky notes? They fall off. Sometimes they fall off and they stick on other things that we don't know what they are. So we use things like machine learning to look for a slate. We look for what the title of the show is, what's the format of the show, who are those important players around that show, and we use that to really understand the value of our assets, and then we store it all in a cost optimized archive powered by Amazon S3. S3 is really important to the picture because it provides that that managed infrastructure for storage at a very low cost, starting at just 2.3 cents per gigabyte per month storage costs. And we see that value in making all of their media accessible online all the time. So we can't just stop at the classic ideas for media. We've got to break new grounds. And those new grounds really do land into more of those online activities on the next generation of what a media company can bring to bear. The start of that was digital sports. The idea of CBS All Access getting the rights to UEFA soccer. The fact that we're able to dynamically schedule matches, anything from the high school all the way up to pro leagues, where we're supporting up to 1,200 simultaneous events per weekend. We're doing live dynamic linear events. We're pulling together. CBSN is a 24/7 streaming news network powered by AWS Media Services, bringing that lean-in experience to CBS Sports digital websites. We're also presenting sites like CBS Sports HQ and Sportsline, where not only are we giving insights into the games, but we're also providing a ton of data. One of the back-end services that we partnered with Viacom CBS was building a sports statistics data warehouse, where all of the sports that we collect fantasy transactions for, we're actually getting live statistics for every play, for every game, and we're driving all of that statistics into probability to win models that can help the idea of opening future sports betting, but even more so, helping you win your fantasy football league. And I'm sure that that's going to be really, really important, as we come closer to the Super Bowl. We're also seeing that the idea of user-generated content, very, very interactive, very low latency, live content, for the likes of streaming video games coming into the CBS world, where CBS Digital recently partnered with us to roll out interactive video service which gives them the ability to at a moment's notice stream extremely low latency video experiences with very little engineering overhead, and really bring that to market at a moment's notice. So we're really happy to work with the likes of Flavio and his team. Of course, we can't go without talking about COVID, and it's really been it's been a major challenge for the media industry, but it's also been one of those driving factors that made us move faster. It made us really think about how do we produce content in a virtual world? How do we keep the lights on? How do we keep the American and international world informed, and really focusing on where we need to be? So CBS was impacted early on with the closure of their broadcast center. It was closed for several weeks in March, and that drove into the New York pause, and that impacted us all nationwide. We learned that we needed to create a virtual environment with Viacom CBS, and we mobilized our Amazon Workspaces product, which is a fully managed desktop as a service platform for both administrative and media staff. It gave them the ability to keep the business running. It gave them the ability to have access to the tools that they needed to do their job, and we got these workspaces deployed in really record-breaking time to 4,000 Viacom CBS employees. That's actually driven a lot of view for the future, and Viacom CBS has announced that in the future they plan 70% of their workforce of close to 20,000 looking to that hybrid work model where they will be working from home at least a portion of their week. So we see this across the board. We see we see industries really needing to be agile, and that's becoming a lot more than just their technology. It's really driving into their workforces. So with that, we've taken a lot of effort into empowering companies like Viacom CBS, giving them the tools they need to do their job. And with that, we launched a partnership with Adobe, and I think Aaron shared a little bit about that. But one of the coolest things that came out of this push was that ongoing relationship with Adobe, where we worked really closely, and we produced a platform to actually empower video editing to that artistic, creative community using Amazon Workspaces and our EC2 graphics workstations. So we've actually come a long way, and like Freddie Mercury said, the show must go on, and it has. Of course, we can't leave you. We can't leave you alone. We can't leave you to find that next reality. Without help. And with that, we definitely have an amazing ProServe team. We've got partners that are that are the tops in their fields. But even more so, we've got a community of solutions architects, of industry analysts, and quite frankly, self-serve tools that's going to help you move forward in your direction for reinventing media. So we've got a blog at on the AWS website. We've got a selection of media solutions that can um, help you build your media workflows and help you bring live video channels to air in minutes. And we've got all the code available for you in our GitHub repositories. So with that, I'm really excited to share with you our view for the next generation of media companies.